All right, welcome to Mike Jordan Uncomplicated, where we try to make your camping life a little less complicated. Of course, many folks who camp also have e-bikes, but people who have e-bikes don't all camp. But today I'm going to talk about e-bike security. And probably one of the most common questions I see on all the forums is, what lock do I get? What kind of lock is good? What kind of lock is, keep my bike from getting stolen? And I'm here to tell you, it's not about a lock. It's about a security system. What you want to do is you want to make your bike less easily stolen than the one right next to it. Again, often parked or often locked into a bike rack someplace, and there's a whole bunch of bikes. Thieves are lazy. They're going to take the easiest one to get to, even if it's not surrounded by other bikes. You just want to make it more complicated than it's worth to try to take it. So that's what we're going to look at today. Again, not just one lock, but I've got 6 levels of security on these bikes, and those levels include a couple different locks. They include some electronic measures, and they include something you've never thought about before. So we're going to take a look at all that, and I guess it's I think it works out to about a 6-point security system. All right, both bikes are set up the same way. Again, we'll start with the locks, and the star of the show is this lock here. It's called a Foldy Lock. And if you've ever seen them, you understand why. If you've never seen one, well, then I'll show you why it's considered a Foldy Lock. But one thing that makes this thing so nice, especially for an e-bike, is it's easy to carry. It fits. It comes with its own case, and I will include a link to everything we talk about today here in the description. I think most all of it I got from Amazon, so I'll include a link. Comes with its own case. I've got it. It bolts to the bosses that are frame bosses that may be used for a water bottle. Everything's kind of plasticized. The case is plastic, and then there's a coating on these bars, so nothing shakes, rattles, rolls, makes any racket, bounces around. It is very securely in this holder. It's got this rubber stretch strap here on the top. You pull that off, and then this comes out, and we will get it to flop out, and then it becomes a pretty good sized lock. So put the camera down and we'll take a little better look at it. All right, let's get a little bit closer. This is the Foldy Lock Forever. There's several different types of them. This is, I believe, the heaviest duty Foldy Lock. Now, all locks, or any quality bike lock, are rated by 2 organizations. There is ART, and I do not remember what that stands for off the top of all of a sudden. I believe that's a European standard. This is ART rated 3. There's only a 4, and the only thing that's rated 4 is some of those ginormous U-locks. And then there is Sold Secure. That's mostly the American standard, and this is rated Sold Secure Gold, which there is one more level. It's a Platinum. And again, I think the only locks that are rated platinum are some of those ginormous thick U-locks. Now, the problem with the U-lock is they are half the size of this. You can see how big this is. I just hope we can see how big this is. And e-bikes frames are thicker. It's pretty thick. And those U-locks, you can't get it around a e-bike frame and whatever you're trying to secure it to. So that's where this Foldy Lock comes into play. It is huge, and it wraps around anything. It wraps around any bike rack. I've never come to a bike rack that it wouldn't wrap around, and attach it to poles and other different things all around town. But it just unlocks, stretches out. But like I said, then it is long enough that you can get it through the frame over here and around. And if there was a pole or a bike rack here. You can see I got plenty of room. I can put my whole head in there almost. So it gives a lot of room to lock something. And again, the secure level of this thing is pretty incredible. Of course, you can get any lock if you want to, but it is resistant to cutting onto all the saws and grinders that people use, and the rivets are protected so they can't split them, or it's very, very difficult to split. So it's going to take somebody a little while to get into this thing. And again, that's what you want. You just want it locked better than the guy next to you. And this is the most secure part of my locking system that I have, and it is the one we used most often, and we always use it if we're going to walk away from the bike, so for any length of time. So again, it just it's easy to lock and unlock, and easy to use. Maybe if I can get it, so it comes right out. Then we just put it back in place, lock it, and then just fold it up, and it slides back in to its own case. And you're ready to go. Simple, easy, and again, rated nearly the highest security of any bike lock out there. All right, the next lock is this lock. And that is most often referred to as a cafe lock, because it's something that you just, you go into the coffee shop, you go into the ice cream shop, you go into order lunch, and you just need to walk away from a minute. You're still inside of the bike. That way somebody just can't run up to it and take off with it. They might break some spokes, but they're not gonna be able to take off with it. Now this is popular in Europe. They're very popular in Europe, and sometimes they are required in Europe. It is art rated against that industry standard. It is a art rated 2. So again, a Foldy Lock was a 3. So this is not necessarily the lock that you're going to leave your bike locked with all day long. But again, it's a cafe lock. It's the lock that you're going to leave when you go just in someplace for something quick, and then maybe you're sitting at a table, 10-20 feet from the bike, just so somebody can't roll off with it in a quick hurry and get down the road before you can run to catch up with them. So it's got a key here, and you can see this key is in the lock, and that is called a captured key. Now I thought I had to have the non-captured key. The captured key is, for some reason that I do not understand, is required in Europe. And when I ordered this came from Europe, came from the Netherlands. So it took it a little bit to get to me, maybe 3 weeks or so. But this is the European lock. The Americans allow the non-captured, and I thought I was ordering the non-captured, and it came to me captured, and I was kind of pissed. But I thought I had to have the key that come out, and I thought so I could keep it on a key ring. But I'm telling you, since I've had it, I like this. This is, I understand the design now. So when you want to run up someplace and you're just going inside for a cup of coffee or the ice cream, you don't have to get your key ring out, fumble for anything, get it. You just turn this and lock and pull out. And let me go around the other side so we can show you what it does when it locks. All right, now the key is on the far side. I'm going to have to turn it. You probably can't see that to release it, to release the lock. But if I turn that, then you'll see this. I hope if I'm not blocking the shot with my hand, this lever moves. And you may or may not be able to see what the lever's moving, so I'm going to give you a little bit different view. All right, so I got my hand on the key on the left. On the right hand, I got it on the lever, and you see when I move this lever, you can see this big steel rod comes in between the spokes, and if I push it down, and then I can pull the key out. So that is locked in between the spokes, And so again, you're not going to push this, you're not going to go run up and hop on this bike and take off before you could catch up to them. They might break your spoke, but they ain't getting away with the bike. So that is what this is. It is a cafe lock. It is not designed to do anything else. Every time, like I said, we talk about them on a forum someplace, people freak out and tell you that's not going to save you from anything and this, that, and the other thing. Well, it is sold secure, or excuse me, ART rated a level 2. So it is a good quality lock, and it will do what it designed to do, just to save you for a quick bite at the cafe. And then one more look at the key side. So I've got the key out, the lock is locked. So now when I put the key in to the lock and turn it, that mechanism is spring loaded. It'll dang near take your finger off, so you don't want your fingers in there when it unlocks. But now that's unlocked and the key is stuck there, which again I thought was a bad idea, but I really like it because you can just pull up, park, you grab the key, you turn it, put that down, and you walk away with the bike locked. Takes seconds, and you have the bike secured just well enough that somebody can't run off with it. And then to mount this bike lock to the frame, you need this piece here. And this is, it's got some bolts that go through the underside of this that you can't see, and it's got a cover so they're hard to get to take them off. If you look there, it might be too dark to see. It's almost like a screwdriver mechanism. This piece here is almost like a wire tie, and that screwdriver mechanism pulls it in and locks it tight. Typically I think these locks are made to go on top of the frame, but my bike rack is here, so I've got it on the bottom of the frame. It's been that way for 6 months now, and not causing any issues. And then the other thing I see people freak out on the forum, well, you could just cut that and then it's not locked. Well, this thing is in the middle of your frame member. You know, it's around the wheel and it's not coming out of this frame. Your wheel's still not turning, so it's not something that they can cut and get away with. And again, it's just something from where you're just maybe a few feet away from the bike, and you're not leaving it out of sight, and just there to lock it so they can't run off with it. And then just one more thing on this lock, and we'll look up, you can see this cable hanging there, and this cable can be used in that lock also. So we'll take a look at that real quick. All right, this cable, this end pulls out of that, and then there's a little release mechanism here. It's probably, it looks dark, the background, not sure you can see much, but just a release mechanism, and then this whole thing slides out. And then this cable end, that plugs into this side. Let me get that down a little bit. Plugs into this side of this cafe lock. So it goes right there, plugs in. Again, we'll take a look at that. It just plugs in there. That key from the other side is going to secure that. And then this cable extends out, and you can see you can wrap this around your front wheel. You can put this around a bike rack also. Again, maybe you're not going to be too far away. And then you could put this through there. And then now your cafe lock is locked around your wheel, and this cable can be locked to your front wheel, or it could be locked around something else, again, when you're close by the bike. So it just adds another level of security. And if you want to combine all this with that Foldy Lock, well, then that's going to make it really difficult to get to if you're going off and leaving the bike away. So you can use it two different ways: added security for a long trip away from the bike, or just a little bit of security for when you're just walking away a few feet away from the bike. All right, and we talked about locks. Next, we'll talk about my electronic security. So I've got remote control motion alarms. So we'll take one and press the button. Right, you heard two beeps. One just to let you know that it received the signal, and the next beep to let you know it's armed. So listen to that again. There's the other one. All right, so now they're both armed, and again, motion security. So let's take a look at a little bit of that. So if I walk up to this bike and touch it like I'm getting ready to do something, it gives that little obnoxious little tone to say, hey, I'm armed, alarmed, get away from me. But if you do that again, well, I did it too long a period of time between them, but do it again. And that's the most obnoxious one. It's kind of ear piercing. All right, enough of that. But again, just gives a little level of security. If somebody thought they're going to come cut the lock, now they got everybody looking at them, trying to figure out what's going on. Now those the alarm portions I've gotten hidden on the bikes somewhere. It's not in the bags, but it's hidden somewhere on the bikes, and it's hidden to a spot to where it's hard to get to. I'm not going to try to pull them out and show you what they look like, but if you do want to see them, I'll put a link in the description for where I got them on Amazon. And I'll also put a link. I've got a video where I use these same alarms on my Kayak trailer security, and I put those in the video before I installed them, so you can kind of get a look at what they look like in that video also, if you want to see that. But again, just keep somebody from wanting to mess with your bikes too much. When all that racket is going on, they're going to move on to something else. All right, my next level of electronic security is one of the Android versions of an AirTag. I guess that's the popular name. AirTag that's for Apple phones, but I've got an Android phone. And for Android, there's about 10,000 of these things out there. Now, because of that, I did way too much analysis paralysis, spent more time researching these things than I will admit to. But this one I am very, very pleased with. So again, I hide these on the bike someplace. I'm not going to show you where they're hidden, but it is a spot that you won't think of, and it's not in the bike bags. That'd be too easy. But now that I just said that out loud, I might put a second one in the bike bag just in case somebody tries to steal the bike bags, because they come off pretty easy. They're quick release, and I've got a video on that if you want to see something about quick release bike bags. They're very, very nice. But any event, I've got them hidden on the bike, and they track better than I can ever imagine. I put these one of these in my wife's car, so it's inside the car, with in the passenger compartment someplace. Again, not gonna say where. And she is a school teacher, so when she is at school, she's 100 yards or more away from her car, and so there's no way her phone is transmitting the signal. But everybody that comes to the school has to drive in right behind where her car is. So I get alerts, or I can get alerts if I set it up that way, all day long that shows me her car is still at school. So that's pretty neat that it's probably somebody driving by inside their car, finding the tag that's inside of her car. So they work quite well. Take just a quick look at the app. All right, this just uses, it's called the Google Find My Hub, I guess is what it's called. So let me sign into it kind of off screen. All right, so signed in, and cover up the map. It shows you where everything's at, but I've got this thing set up so it shows my phone at the top. It shows my old phone, which is I use for other things. It's no longer connected, but it works on Wi-Fi. And then you see my gray bike and my wife's teal bike, my wife's car, and then I got Reflection, which is my fifth wheel. So I've got one in there, and then it actually shows my earbuds, which I didn't do anything for that. I didn't try to log them in or anything. They just automatically show up. So if I lose my earbuds, I can find them too. So that's pretty neat. Didn't realize it was going to do. But if you look at the map that's kind of above there, whatever device you click on, it will show you where it's at, and then it gives you a little concentric ring to get close to. Once you get close to it, to find it. So neat device. Like I said, they work better tracking than I could have imagined. We were at the beach last weekend and camping. We biked to the beach, locked our bikes up at a bike rack. You got to walk 200 yards down a boardwalk, and then you walk 100 yards across the sand down to the water. You can't see your bike anymore, and it would be an easy place to steal because the bike rack is close to the road. And it was comforting all day long. I could look and see my bikes were still where I left them. We went down the beach another mile to the boardwalk, and I could see that my bikes were still where I left them. So they're pretty neat devices. And again, really pleased with the one I got. So again, I'll put that link in the description. And then another level of electronic security is know your serial number for your bike. Got part of it covered up there. I don't know, somebody could do something nefarious if they had the whole thing. But know your serial number. So you can get that off the bike. Mine is, you can see right behind the left side pedal. A lot of bikes have them on the bottom way down there underneath the crank. But note that number, and then we're going to go do something with that number. All right, this is what you do with that number. You go to this website, which is bikeindex.org, and I'll put that down in the description so you don't have to remember it or try to type it when I'm talking about it. But if you just go into here and then click this register now, then you go in and you fill out, start with that serial number, and then you fill out the description of your bike and the name of it and the manufacturer and the model year and all that stuff if you know it, and then you can register your bike. Now this site is used by most all the police departments and sheriff's departments. If there's a stolen bike, a lot of bike shops use it to verify if somebody's tried to sell a bike or trade a bike, that the bike belongs to them. So it's a great resource. If your bike goes missing and you get it back with your tracker, to prove to the cops that, yeah, this bike belonged to me, because the thief is just going to say, no, it's my bike. So you can prove it belongs to you with this website. An awesome resource. All right, we looked at some lock security, we looked at some electronic security, and now we'll look at the security you didn't think about. So I've taken the battery out. And yes, of course, you've thought about that before. But if the battery's out, they can't motor it away. But they could still write it away. If they get past all the locks and get past the alarms and everything else, they might be able to write it away, unless it didn't have any pedals. So I've got quick release pedals. So I pull this little yellow piece out, push, I don't know if we can see this in the video, but there's a spring-loaded mechanism there. Push that, and the pedal is off. Now the bike's got no pedals, so you're not going to pedal it away. And as a secondary feature, this helps a lot with putting my bikes into that fifth wheel I showed. I carry them inside the fifth wheel, not on a rack. So getting the pedals out of the way helps them, help me get them in and out of the tight spaces to get them into the fifth wheel. And I'll have to make a video on that, because it's got a little unique setup for that too. So again, to put these back in, they're simple. They just Push that in, and then this spring-loaded mechanism piece has to go in. Pedal locks into place, and then this little yellow clip just slides on, and then that keeps this spring mechanism from being able to be accidentally disconnected. So these things are awesome. Quick on, off, and when I want to leave my bikes like at the beach where I'm so far away, maybe for a long period of time, again, another level of security to remove the pedals to where they can't get away riding the bike. Alright, so there it is. My bike security system is more than about just a single lock. It's a system for me to keep somebody from being able to get away. Make it a little harder than the next guy is usually all you have to do. They'll go steal somebody else's. So whether you're stopping for a quick bite to eat, you're heading down to the beach, you're stopping on the trail to do some side exploring, or whatever you happen to be doing, you've got to be able to secure your bike. And we don't use every method every time, but you can use part of the methods depending upon your scenario. So you enjoy this video, you learn something, please like and subscribe. It helps out the channel, helps us grow, helps us do more of these videos. And we will see you in the next video.